Mark, what kind of environment are you in that you feel that you have to be completely direct versus that's a need and over here's a role. My role is as far as how do I feel about me having to be emotionally restrained. I'm a project cowboy. I don't have to be restrained very often, or maybe I do. I'm down here too. So here you have two contrasting things, which is once again a great grounds for conversation. We'll jump over this. Let's take a look at this this is a little bit more complicated, but since we're going to talk about it in the podcast, I want you to have a rudimentary understanding of once you get in. There are two tests that you take when you take the PAPI. One of them is called the Ipsa test, which is based on your preferences. So what you're given is you're given a test that asks you to look at 3 different of these needs or preferences and asks you which one has priority. Okay? And sometimes you struggle with it because you say, well, either none of them are important to me or all of them are or some of them are important to me, but it forces you to take a pick because it kind of goes beyond that process of letting you know where you at home. Okay? This is pretty much gives you an overview of what your preference is, and this is not really the primary circle that's used. The primary circle that's used, but we'll take a look at this. So Ipsa, here you have it broken down. We've kind of opened up the wheel that you can see. You can see once again engagement, impact, drive, and organization. That's half of the wheel, and you can see my score for whatever that's worth. Once again, it gives you an indication of where my preferences lie. Not exactly what I do, but where my preferences lie. Here, the next part of the wheel, ideas and change, interaction, work momentum, and composure. You can see here we've got a little bit more erratic display, a great ground for a coach to dig into, okay? So let's take a look at the normative. Now let's understand what normative means. When I was taking the course for PAPI, one of the participants said, you know what, how valid can this be and how reliable can this be? Because this should vary, your personality type should vary based on whether you're an engineer, an IT person, or a marketing person, or the type of project or the type of culture you're in, or maybe even the country that you're in. And that's what's great about the organization that's behind this PAPI profile. What they do is they have, I think, over 250,000 results in a database, which allows you to select based on your location, your cultural background, your education, and your job, your normative group. What does normative group mean? It means you're not compared to all 250,000 or 500,000 people, respondents that they have, but they select that group and say, compare to them, what is your distribution look like? Okay? A little bit complex, but it's an interesting concept. Once again, if we roll this out, okay, this is my distribution over engagement. I'm into motivation, right? I have the need to be upwardly supportive. So I'm a little bit above the average here. I have a high work focus. I have a need to achieve. I hope so. I'm persistent. I have a need to influence. I have even a higher need to lead. Doesn't necessarily say I lead because I feel that it's my right or I'm entitled to it. It could be because I feel that the environment that I'm in, if I don't lead, nobody else will, right? And then you can see a little bit of a dip here in need to be noticed, a little bit less, which I would agree with. Need to be organized, also a little bit less. Now you might say, this is about average. You might say, well, shouldn't that be higher if you're a consultant for project management? It depends on what kind of project you're in. If you're in agile environments, it'll be a little bit lower, okay? If you compare to the ipsative, you can see that there is a difference that's worth discussion. We're going to talk about it a little bit on the podcast.